All right. So just tell everybody your name and where you're from. I know where you're from, but not everybody does. So tell everyone your name and where you're from, and we'll go from there.
Okay, I'm Mary Kovacs, and I live in southern Ontario. We're right between Toronto and Niagara Falls. So
Okay.
if you go from Toronto to Niagara Falls, you right past by me. Um, I'm 69 years old in a couple of weeks, and I'm very nervous, but
Oh.
I'm just going to take a deep breath,
Yeah.
and because I got a great story to tell.
Yeah, I think your story is going to be huge for a lot of people.
Yeah,
It'll be
yeah,
really good.
yeah. Okay, so
Okay.
my mother was 36 when she had me. I was the third child of five, the middle child, the most well-adjusted, you know.
Yes.
and and um, the other siblings are fine. They're not fine. I mean, we're all fine, but they were not unaffected by BWS. And the only difference my mother said was that she didn't eat meat during my pregnancy for some reason. She decided
Huh.
not to eat meat. And she didn't never knew whether that was a cause of the problem, as she called it, my
Mhm.
problem.
Oh.
Um, um, when I was born, I was 11 pounds. I had the emphysema. My mother said that I had that because she was a month overdue. Um, she said the placenta fell off. And I bought that story for a while until I realized I would have had brain damage if the placenta had fallen off. But
Right.
she had excuses or reasons for the pits and the creases in my ear. She said it was the hot forceps because it was natural delivery and I was big.
Hmm.
So she rationalized that that was that. And she couldn't explain the big tongue, but she just accepted that as part of an overdue baby. They x-rayed her before she went into labor and delivery. They thought I was twins. She was so big, they
Yeah.
thought I was twins. But no, there was only Big Mary.
No.
That was just me. Um, they operated on the emphysema right away within a couple of hours and gave me a kind of like a purse string belly button. I'm interested whether your kids got regular belly buttons or did they get what I got, because I've always hated my belly button.
Oh.
Yeah, it looks like a cauliflower or just a purse, a bag of marbles, the top, when you drawstring a purse, that's the way they
Yeah.
did it. And,
Oh.
not that I could ever wear uh, two pieces, but two-piece bathing suits, but I always regretted not having a little button.
Oh.
Um, I guess I could have requisitioned one and got a cosmetic one, but I
Yeah.
didn't. Um, what else? Let me just see my notes. I'm
Yeah. Looks
all
like what you
flustered
got.
here. Um, uh, I had the sac where my with some intestines in there. They did like a post like a lab
Hmm.
thing on what I guess the omphicyle and the placenta. I guess they wanted to find out what it was.
Hmm.
Um, and the doctors discussed whether I had Down syndrome. They didn't know. They didn't
That's
know for
interesting.
sure.
A lot of
Hmm.
BWS parents that I've talked to have said that doctors have confused the two
Hmm.
initially.
Hmm.
Like they'll suspect
Hmm.
that before they suspect. And I don't know if that's because of the big tongue, because I think that's a
Hmm.
commonality in
Hmm.
Downs.
Hmm. Yeah, yeah,
But that's interesting that they did that back then.
yeah. Even back in 1950. I was kept in the hospital for 13 days, and my mother tells the story about she went to the hospital because, of course, after she went home, she didn't stay with me. I was just in the nursery. They didn't do that in those days. And she called the doctor. She says, "When can I take my baby home?" And he says, "You don't have her home yet?" So I always tease that I could still be there in the nursery
Oh my
because the
gosh.
doctors were discharging me.
Oh man.
Um, they had suggested a tongue reduction, but for some reason my parents said no.
Okay.
They said no, and I don't know, whether I should have had one or not, but I grew into it, I guess, and
So you
I
never
had to have
had it reduced ever?
no, no. I had to have braces when I was 50 finally because my bottom jaw was so big.
Right.
The my teeth were all wonky and everything, and it was weird because my tongue always sat below
Mm-hmm.
because that's where the space was. So when they put the braces on and they tightened over the months, I couldn't put my tongue down there anymore. So it was
Oh,
up, like most people, I think, hold their tongue on the roof of their mouth.
yeah.
I could never, mine always fell to the bottom because there was more room there. Yeah. So, my mother told me that she had to spend a lot of time with me. I choked so easy, breathing difficulties, and of course, back then there was no CPAP, there was nothing,
Right.
and so she weathered it all by herself. She
Oh,
was, when I think about what you guys are going through, I just wish I could give her a big hug because she
yeah.
must have gone through some real hard times.
Mm-hmm.
Now the benefit was like I had an older brother 4 years old and an older sister 2 years old, but my grandparents lived with us, so
Oh,
she had live-in help,
that's
which must have really helped. Yeah,
yeah.
my older sister always felt she got shortchanged because I came along and needed so much help.
Yeah.
Um, and mind you, she was tiny, petite, blue-eyed, blonde. Of course, I'm blonde now, but I was brown hair, and I didn't have very much of it, brown eyes, and just big, And I have pictures of, I guess, when my grandparents had their 50th wedding anniversary, and my mother dressed us in matching clothes, and so I was 4 and my sister was 6. I guess she bought the same size socks. Mine are like stretched to the limit, and hers are all like just normal socks,
Yeah.
eh? And so my legs have always been such a sadness because I couldn't wear skinny jeans. I couldn't wear, when you talked about Owen and his thick legs, I always think, oh yeah, like if I was a guy, it wouldn't be
Right.
as bad.
Yeah.
But I weathered it, and I always thought that I never realized that the bigger legs were part of the syndrome, the thickness. I always just
Right.
thought that was because I've always had weight issues.
Mm-hmm.
And I always thought that was part of my obesity that I used to have, and I'll
Mm-hmm.
be telling that story. But yeah, I didn't talk for a long time.
Really?
Yeah, I was very slow to talk, so much so that my parents were Catholic, and they took me to this shrine in Quebec City, Saint Anne de Beaupré, and apparently I was cured there, and I haven't stopped talking since.
Well, good.
Yeah,
You haven't
yeah,
stopped talking.
I haven't, and my mother always said that it was a miracle, and I don't know. I don't like she's not around to question further, but yeah, they said I was cured there, and I always meant to go back to the shrine to give thanks or whatever.
Yeah.
I don't have any hemi-hypertrophy. Um, and I think that was all about my my early challenges. But there's more challenges to come.
Mm-hmm.
I in grade 1, like after all the talking difficulties and everything, this is a nice part of a story. It was grade 1, and it was a Christmas pageant, and my mother was in the back um, watching the play. My dad was at work, but the teacher said that we're going to have our best reader read the Christmas story, and it was me.
Oh,
And my mother burst out crying, because of
oh,
all, like if you think about, like at least you know what it is. She didn't know what it was. Thank goodness she
yeah.
didn't know that it was about the cancer part. But I guess it was finally proof that I was going to make it, you know.
Yeah.
So she always told that story about how proud she was and how she knew that I would be okay
Oh,
after that grade one. Yeah,
that's awesome.
I know, I know. Um, I always felt like an ugly duckling though, because I was so big.
Oh,
Yeah, there's somebody, oh dear, somebody's messaging. How do I get rid of that? Um, I guess it'll disappear. I was called Big Mary,
oh,
and I hated it. I
yeah.
hated it. I hated it. Um, and my older sister was Little Anne Marie, and both my sisters are 5'3", petite, blonde, blue eyes. They take after my dad. I took after my mom. So I always felt different. And so like my body image wasn't good, and
Yeah.
my mom did, I guess I was teased, and she says, she always said, when they're talking about you, Mary, they're talking about their betters. She always supported, us kids, and tried, to give us good body images,
Yeah.
but it, it didn't work for me. I hated my belly button. I hated my smile. My smile was different than my sisters. My sisters have this view, because their upper bridge is bigger,
Mm-hmm.
so they have big, wide smiles. I don't. I mean, I've got some bridge work here, and it's not bad, but it's not like my sisters, you know.
Yeah.
So yeah, I guess I hated most of my body. So and it, but I like it now.
Good. You're beautiful.
Yeah, thank you, thank
You're
you.
welcome.
So but in the teens, and this is what I want to, make all the BWS mothers of girls. I went on a diet, and I should never have gone on a diet.
Yeah.
I thought if I went on a diet, I would get small. But I couldn't get small because I was big.
Yeah.
And my top height was 5'10". I'm a little bit shorter now with aging, but I wanted to be like my sisters. And I went on this starvation diet, and
Oh.
I lost weight. I lost weight, but gained it all back.
Yeah.
Um, when I was 22 or 23, I think I was about 225 pounds, and my friend asked me if I could lose weight, I could be her maid of honor. Wasn't that
Oh my God.
a nice thing to say? And so instead of smacking her, I lost weight. So
Oh.
I got down, and by golly, while I was slim, I got myself a husband too.
Oh.
And so I got married when I was 25, and but by golly, my metabolism was all screwed up. I gained all the weight back, plus more. So I was about 250 by the time I wanted to get pregnant. And I went to a Canadian calorie counters. We've got this place in Canada. It's called Canadian Calorie Counters. So, it's all over Canada. And by golly, I lost the weight. I was the queen of Canada. But I went to the convention, and they crowned me because I had lost the most weight in Canada.
Oh.
I know, I know. So and then I got my baby, and I always worried during my pregnancy with Jason that he was going to be affected like I was.
Right.
I thought, with my mother telling me that the placenta fell off, I thought, I hope his placenta doesn't fall off.
Yeah.
And of course my gynecologist, he saw my belly button, didn't ask, didn't know. I don't think he knew,
Probably not.
because he didn't get me tested for anything like that. That was '83 when I had Jason. Um, I had to be admitted to the hospital for blood pressure problems, and so many doctors looked at me. Nobody suggested BWS. No.
Yeah.
And because I was big, I hardly looked pregnant because Jason was across me, and I had the room.
Yeah.
So I thought for sure, oh, my placenta is short. It's going to fall off like like mine. So I had a lot of terrors about this baby, but
Oh,
he came out perfectly fine. He was only 7'7" and um, just normal height and everything. But now he's 6'6".
oh, that's
He's a
funny.
big boy. He's a
Yeah.
big boy. But I mean, and I hear you talking about kids that don't present as BWS kids.
Yeah.
I'm wondering if I should have him tested. I mean, he's perfectly fine, like as far as I can see. But
Yeah. It makes you wonder.
yeah, it does make me wonder when I hear that some kids don't present at all, but
Yeah.
can have it.
Right.
I never dated in high school. They had to set out for a special unit. I'm back to my teens. Um, I was an introvert, and I joined up with the wrong people. I
Hmm.
should have. I'm getting very red.
You look fabulous.
Thank you. So I battled weight all my life, and by the time I got to 1997, I think I was 300 pounds. And I thought, my friend had passed away. She had melanoma, and she passed away. And I thought, I'm going to be next with my weight and my family history at heart.
Yeah.
So I went on a diet, and this diet I was slow, I exercised, it was under doctor's care. It took me 3 years to lose all the weight. So for the new millennium, I was feeling pretty good. And
Yeah.
that's when I got my eyes lasered, but they've degraded for the 20 years, so I have to wear glasses again. But I got my eyes lasered. I got a lot of my big moles off that I had. I had a lot of moles. Got my teeth straightened, and I think finally I was coming to be who I should have been all along.
Right.
Confident, and I still had bigger legs, but I, I just felt really, really good. And I joined Overeaters Anonymous. This is a plug for Overeaters Anonymous. I've been going there for 20 years, and I sponsor people, and it has really saved my life.
Oh,
It really has just been a lifesaver for me because I never gained the weight back. This is
wow.
the last diet that I've never gained the weight back. So I just feel like I probably will I'll always have a propensity to eat a lot. I do love food, but
Yeah.
I'll never be obese again. No,
Hmm.
I will never be obese again. I'm size like 14, size 16, so I don't have to go to a
Perfect.
specialty shop. I know.
Perfect.
And with my height, it's not bad.
No.
So after my mother passed away in 1993, I was kind of searching for family roots and everything, and I got into Ancestry, and then with the computer and everything, I decided to Google my symptoms, and
Huh.
I was I was stunned when it came up with Beckwith-Rinneman syndrome,
Yeah.
and it was like, you see the Kinta Kunte, in Roots. Have you ever watched that show where I finally found my genetic roots. I was so excited, and then I was kind of fearful because I had a son that I wanted to know whether I was a carrier,
Right.
whether he would be in genetic not peril, but whether it was something that he passed on.
Right. Right.
So I went to my doctor, and she says, "You're good," because she said, "Yeah." She says it does look like that's what you do have. She says,
Wow.
I said I'd like to go to genetic testing at our local children's hospital, and she got me the referral, and I
Wow.
went, and the doctor interviewed me and examined me, and he said, "Yeah, you've got BWS, but we'll genetically confirm it." So they took blood work,
Wow.
and sure enough, a few months later, it came back that I did have, I was a BWS baby.
Oh.
Yeah.
How did you feel getting
Yeah.
that diagnosis after so long? I mean,
I
how old
felt
were you? You were in
good.
your 40s, right?
I was in my 50s.
Yeah.
Oh, 40s, yeah, 40s, yeah. Yeah. I felt good. I felt, okay, this is why. This is why. And, you know, when I went to, then I switched to another geneticist at McMaster, and I said, you know what I'd love to do? I'd love to hold a little BWS baby girl.
Oh.
And and then we never did get that connection, you know. I always wanted to, because I don't have any pictures of me as an infant.
Yeah.
You know, I've got pictures maybe 2 or 3 years old, but you know, you always want to see what you look like as a baby. And
Yeah.
I probably looked not pretty, but you
No,
know,
you were
still you'd like,
probably adorable. BWS babies are so cute
yeah,
in
yeah,
their own way.
yeah, for sure. Um, they were very, very interested in my history, so they followed me for 20 years.
Wow.
Yeah, and still, the last doctor, Dr. Lee, she was going to do a paper on me. So when I knew I was going to be talking, I called her and asked her whether she had written that and whether I could get a copy. But she says, "Oh, Mary," she says, went back to China. She says, I didn't do it, but she says, I still plan to do it. And she says,
Oh,
I'll give you a call every now and then, and to, you know, because she says, you are the oldest one that we know of.
yeah.
So yeah, so that was really good. And the results confirmed that I had BWS, but it was the sporadic one. It wasn't the genetic one, you know, where I guess it's familial, you know.
Christine is on here and she wrote to you and said, "If you will be at CHOP for the conference, you can absolutely hold my BWS baby girl Claire."
I can't this year, but I do
Oh,
want to go next year. If they hold it every year, I do want to go next year because I told my boyfriend about it, and he says, "Yeah, we'll take a road trip down there. It's only about
oh, that's
I
so
think five,
great.
6 hours. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
We're going on a Ontario Waterways cruise during that week
Gotcha.
this year, so I can't go this year. But oh, I would just love to mirror what my mother must have felt like when she held me, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah. So now my health is pretty good. I've got osteopenia, which is a precursor to osteoporosis,
Okay.
but I'm taking medication for that. I have knee and back issues. Like I
Yeah.
guess I think the knee issues are from because I carried a lot of weight, 300 pounds. I mean that's hard on your knees. So
Right.
it's I probably will have to get a knee replacement down the road, especially on my left. Um, I have a long and tortuous colon.
Hmm.
I went for a colonoscopy in 2007, and they did find a polyp just inside a little bit, but they couldn't get the scope up because they said it is just a long and winding road.
Wow.
So the only way I can get my colonoscopies now, because I had one polyp that would have turned cancer in 10 years, I have to have virtual colonoscopies, which are via a CAT scan.
Oh,
So I get that every 5 years.
wow.
So yeah, when I was down at the geneticist, I said, "Do you have a picture of my colon?" Because I guess she would have records of the colonoscopy, and it is just all windy and loopy
Oh,
and long, and it's not like the normal one where it's, you know, the three kind of like up and down.
right. That's interesting.
So, yeah, yeah, yeah. And I always wondered whether it's because they stuffed my intestines back in. But
Oh,
yeah, I don't know whether they were all out of kilter or was that just because I know some of your inner organs grow bigger
right.
with BWS. So,
I do.
yeah, so
Interesting.
I have kidney stones. I have terrible overheating issues.
Do you really? I was going to ask you that because that seems to be a sorry, my dogs are barking. That seems to be a big BWS thing. Ugh. Like I don't know if you've noticed, like even the pictures that I post of Owen, he'll be outside for like 5 minutes and his whole face is just beet red.
Yeah,
So red. I'm like, why does
yeah,
he overheat like that?
yeah. And my boyfriend, he's a bit older than me, and he's always cold. And
Of course.
it's like it's torturous. I said, oh, I want to get old and be cold like old people because like I get in a lather sometimes. You know, it's not very feminine, but he keeps me cool. He puts the air on and everything. But
That's good.
he wants me to call him after. He knew I was nervous about tonight, so he says,
Oh,
"Call me after, you know, and we'll talk about it."
does he have Facebook? He should watch it.
Oh, I told him I didn't want him
Oh, you didn't
to.
want
I didn't
to?
want him till after. No,
Oh,
he's
okay.
not. He is on Facebook, but we're, yeah, no, no,
No,
no.
no.
One peculiar thing that, and this has always been, and I don't know whether it's a health issue or whatever, but I cannot stand for a long time. If someone,
Hmm.
like cocktail party or somebody captures me to talk, the top would be about 2 or 3 minutes. Other than that, I've got to sit down. I can walk for miles, but I can't stay still. My blood pressure must drop or whatever. Um, and I faint. Like I feel like I'm going to faint if I don't
Oh,
sit down.
okay.
Just by standing, like Disney World, as long as we're moving in a line, I'm fine. But if I have to stand still, I get woozy. So I always want like it happened when I first noticed it in my teens. I couldn't like if we went to mass and I had to stand like say Christmas and everything.
Yeah.
I couldn't. I'd have to go sit down. So I don't know whether that because
Oh,
that
then
nobody
Easter
else.
what must have been real challenging for you.
I know. I know.
Easter
I
Mass
know.
is long.
Yeah. So my husband passed away in 2012, and my son bought my house, and I moved out to Ancaster, and which is a suburb of Hamilton, and I live a condo life, and it's a wonderful life, and now I've got this boyfriend who lives around the corner, and I found this group that
Yeah,
it's just it's so I just feel home like I'm home, you know,
good,
because I don't feel alone anymore. I
good.
did feel alone, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And you must have, I mean, do you remember questioning when you were in your teens and stuff? Like, what is going on with me? Like, do you remember having thoughts like that? Or did you just think, because you
I just
obviously
knew
knew you were a
I
little
was
different
different.
than sisters.
I just knew I was different, and I was insecure, and I linked up with wrong people, like not boyfriends, because I didn't date, just girlfriends who weren't the best for me. You know, I
Yeah.
because of my insecurities. You know, and
Mm.
I didn't go to dances. I had a teenage life that very sheltered, kind of. You know, oh dear, I lost
Yeah.
my earpiece. Um, yeah, yeah.
Well, at least now you can kind of put the pieces together.
Yeah,
That's good.
definitely, definitely. And the more you guys talk about symptoms and like when you talked about Owen's thick legs, I thought, oh, yay, that's me, you know,
Yeah.
that's I don't have to think that's because of my overeating anymore. It's
No.
because of the way I was born, you know,
And your overeating,
and
I mean, is probably part of Owen overeats all the time, but I just can't stop him.
mm,
I mean, there's nothing I can do about it.
yeah,
And
yeah.
the way it was
Well,
described to me was that their metabolism is just like rapid fire. So
really.
your eating is
But
probably
I wasn't when I first went my first diet. I'm about the weight I was then,
Mhm.
and really, I should never have gone on a diet,
Right.
and I would have been perfectly fine. But because of my body image and just my insecurities, I thought if I lost weight, that my life would be magically better, you know.
Yeah.
But it
I
didn't
think
get
you're
better
such a
till.
testament to girls with or without BWS because I think girls struggle with that anyway. And then if
Hmm.
you have
Hmm.
BWS on top of it and you don't even know,
I
um,
know.
you
Hmm.
really are in a really awesome place for where you started.
Oh, I know. I know. I know.
It's pretty
When
amazing, actually.
yeah, when I think about the excitement in 1995 when I found my genetic roots. I just
Yeah.
thought, oh, so this is why, you
Yeah.
know. And yeah, some of the pictures were scary, you know, and but I don't know. I just felt I was home, and then finding this group just brought it all together, and I just love you guys, and
Oh,
I
good.
I just think that you mothers who tend to these babies that need so much care,
Yeah.
and they're so precious. And I when I was down at the McMaster Children's Hospital, I did ask the doctor. I said, do some parents choose to abort their BWS babies? And she said yes. And I
Yeah.
thought, that's so unfair, I mean, we have a few differences, but what a blessing we are to this world, and it breaks my heart. And so, although I am very pro-life, and because I've got skin in the game,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
do, and I mean, I don't, it's everybody's decision, but I'm
No,
definitely
I get it.
pro-life.
I
And
mean, I am too. And, I think that's another misconception too. I've heard stories of because it's not known about, because doctors have little understanding about it, they're telling these mothers that, you're going to have a baby that's mentally handicapped. You're going to have a baby that doesn't live a normal life. They're telling them all these things where, as a mother, I'm sure they probably feel like they're maybe doing their baby a favor. I mean, that's not a decision I would ever make, but it's just wrong information. It's not correct. I
I
mean,
know, and that's why I was so excited to come on here to give mothers hope,
right.
like I don't know why McMaster Hospital hasn't, you know, have my name on an index card, talk to this lady before you make that decision, like,
Right.
because I'm going to be 69 years old, and so far so good, and like
Yeah,
I love my life now, I
exactly.
really do. I mean, it took me a while, but and then I think with if if my mother knew about the syndrome, she might have been able to get more support, and
Right.
maybe somehow get me maybe some help,
Yeah,
psychological help, maybe in my teens,
right.
which I would say get it, because like being different is hard. You want to
Mhm.
fit in, and you want to wear the skinny jeans, and you want to wear knee socks. Like I could never get knee socks to fit. Oh, and they were very popular in my
Yeah.
day, and no, I couldn't. Like they came up mid calf, and like, oh,
Yeah.
I just. But I'm wearing a lovely pair of leggings today. I bought leggings for the first time. Maybe it's because of you guys. I don't know. I never would wear leggings, but I bought a nice pair with black with white polka dots, and I just feel like $1,000,000. So
Good.
that's
You
why I wore
should.
them. I wore them tonight because I wanted to channel my goodness,
Your inner fierceness.
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
that's I have a younger sister who's 15, and she doesn't have anything, but she deals with the struggles of a 15-year-old girl, and I tell her, and I think for BWS kids as they get to be teenagers, like I'm sure I won't have it as difficult with my son. I think girls are probably a little harder, but just hearing your story, where you're at now compared to where you were at in high school in your teenage years, like that little blip of your life, it was hard, but it was just a little glimpse. Like it wasn't your whole entire picture.
No,
Um,
no.
and now you finally
I
know
think
the
it
picture.
made me more compassionate. It made me
Yeah,
the loving, kind person that I am, and
right.
um, I wouldn't change the way I am. That my nature is very kind. So
Yeah. Did people
yeah.
say about you when you were younger that you were like a smiley kid, or I'm curious because all the BWS babies that I see, they're so happy all the time.
My mother, well, Anne Marie, my older sister, was she was just a charmer. She was beautiful, and she still is. She's just a lovely sister. We're going away Wednesday, Thursday, Friday up to my sister's trailer, so
Oh,
I'll
cool.
probably let them listen to this. And
Yeah.
she, my mother tried to build me up so much.
Hmm.
That, oh, Mary, you've got the best personality. Oh, look at your eyebrows. She to the poor Anne Marie. Anne Marie felt less than. But here she was a beautiful little girl. But because my mom knew that I wasn't as beautiful as her, she really, tried to build me up. And God bless her. Anne Marie still comments about my eyebrows. She's so funny. I feel bad. I feel bad, but and
A little bit of sibling
we've
rivalry is okay.
true. That's true. That's true.
We
Yeah,
always
yeah.
tease my parents because I'm one of 11. I don't even know if everybody knows that. Yeah.
Wow.
I don't think I've ever told anyone on here that. Yeah, I'm one of 11. I'm number 8. And it's funny because a lot of my older sisters are like, actually, I'm the tallest in my family, which is interesting. All my sisters are 5'4" and under. I'm 5'8". So they would joke with me, like, where the heck did you come from? And then we would tease my parents because some of my older sisters that were like really super smart and very into like books and school, um, we would come over for the holidays and they'd have like more than one graduation picture up. So we're like, what the heck? Why did they get 2 pictures? So we would tease my parents and like rearrange all the pictures of all of us kids. So some sibling rivalry is fun.
I guess, yeah. Yeah, my two brothers, I had an older brother and a younger brother. They both passed away with untreated high blood pressure. They were
Wow.
physicists, they were so smart, but they didn't go to the doctor. And they
Mm.
both passed with heart issues. So
Oh,
I do have to watch for heart issues because my mother and father both died of heart issues. So, I mean, that's
okay.
probably.
When they found out that you indeed did have back with, like did they want to do any initial tests on you even though you were older? Did they want to do an ultrasound? Did they want to look at your heart?
They did everything. I had a
Okay.
full workup. Oh yeah,
Oh,
they
good.
were a very full workup, and subsequently every 2 years they would do the same thing and take pictures and everything because they hadn't run across anybody that had figured it out. You know,
Right. I
yeah.
don't think I know of real. I think you're the only one that I have met thus far. I mean, Christopher was on here before, but he's in his 30s. And up until then, he was the only one in that age range. And I've never heard of anyone really um, in your age that has
I
it. So
know, I
it's
know, I
really
know.
cool.
I teased the doctors down at Mac. I said, maybe I'm the first.
Yeah, the first ever.
Maybe it was a baby boom kind of thing, that had only appeared after the war. But
Well, it's
and
interesting because it was just discussed. I mean, they just figured it out in the 60s. So, I mean, it makes you wonder how many people, um, you know, had a similar situation like you and are kind of wondering, like, why am I different? Or, why is this different about me? And, it makes me wonder, like, how many more people are going to sit down and Google? I
I
mean,
know, I know, I know, I know.
kind of crazy.
Your group is going to get very, very large, I think.
I mean,
Because yeah, for them to figure out that it's a syndrome, there must have been numbers. There must have been
yeah.
a lot of numbers.
I know, and it makes now that you know that you have it, do you find yourself, because now, I know Owen has it, and I do feel that a lot of BWS babies have a very similar look to them. I never thought that before until Mackenzie, one of the women who has a BWS child that I met through all of this, her daughter and my son were sitting next to each other, and it was the first time where I was like, oh my God, they look alike, which is bizarre because my son has Filipino in him. So I mean,
Oh,
it's just bizarre that they would even look similar. But then when you actually look at the kids, they do look very similar. So I find myself sometimes looking at other children like, oh, they look similar. Like, do you notice that at all in adults or not really?
All I know is that, like, my smile is different than most people because of the larger bridge on the bottom, because of my tongue. But and when they had to do, I don't know what you call it, templates for like to get my braces on, and they kept looking for a bigger bridge. They had all this bin of like they had to put the plaster in it, and they kept trying to fit one in. They said, "Oh my goodness, you've got a very large, bridge on your bottom."
Yeah.
But it's not bad.
No, your face is beautiful.
Oh, thank you.
It
Thank
is,
you.
and I mean,
It's brought. When I saw Chris, or it was Chris, the other
yeah.
gentleman with bigger like jaw. I think it affects your jawline, and it's just a bigger, but maybe some of it's fat. I don't know.
No, you're perfect. And I think that this is the kind of stuff that I love because you only figure out that this stuff is out there if we all talk about it. And to hear your story is incredible. I mean,
Yeah.
for you I've always wondered, and I've said this before, I was very thankful, and I don't want this to come around horrible, but I was so thankful that Owen was a boy, just because I did have all those fears for him, because I'm a girl. I know what those fears are like, being I don't want to say regular girl, but a girl that doesn't have those types of issues. So, I mean, your story's amazing, just that you didn't even know that you had that. You knew that you were different, but you still rocked your differences. I mean, that's awesome.
I did.
Yeah.
I think, you know, social work counseling would have been very helpful in
Yeah.
my teens. It would have been very helpful and I always tell kids that when my son was growing up and some of his friends we lived on a court, and some of the girls had little weight issues. I'm going to go on a diet. This, 12-year-old, I said, don't go on a diet. Just increase your exercise. And I told her my story about going on a diet when I shouldn't have, and how it ruined my metabolism, So I can't eat a lot. If I look at food, sometimes I gain weight, So I have to really, really watch what I eat, and I have treats the odd time, but
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah.
That's awesome.
But as far as medical, they did all the genetic testing, free of charge, and I guess
I was
they.
going to ask you that because a girl on Instagram, I was telling her that your story was coming up, and she was like, "Oh man, I don't have Facebook." And I said, "Well, you can rewatch it once I put it on the website." But she was saying that she is pretty sure she has it. I think she said she was clinically diagnosed, but her insurance wouldn't pay for her to get the blood work done, and now they're testing her baby girl. And when I told her about you, I said, "Oh yeah, she didn't find out that she had it until she was, in her 40s or 50s." And she wanted me to ask if you had any insurance difficulties with them denying
I'm
me.
in Canada, so we have social medicine.
Yeah,
So
so you guys have
yeah,
it. Yeah, you don't have. It's interesting the differences because some people, they get denied. They're not. I mean, a lot of people are having issues with that.
yeah. I've heard. I've seen some of the stories. It's so sad.
Yeah.
Very sad.
I think part of it too
Especially.
is not recognized at all.
Well, you're really doing a great service for making it an awareness and
Oh, thanks. It wouldn't
I just
be,
love
it
you
wouldn't
guys.
happen without all you guys. I mean, it really does take guts and courage to kind of share your story and the vulnerable
Yeah.
parts of it and the parts that are really hard. I mean, who wants to tell the world and tell strangers that they had times that they didn't love themselves or stuff like that?
I
That's
I know,
difficult.
I
That's
know.
hard.
And it did take a while for me to
Yeah.
really start loving myself. And I think it happened, you know, when I was 50, and I was in a bad marriage for a while, and so I left for a while, and I got my head together. I needed to think, and I came back, and I started putting boundaries up and finally being who I should have always been, not just a doormat, because
Right.
I think when you're insecure and when you have poor body image, you just take whatever comes your way and
Yeah.
like for my friend to say, you could be my maid of honor if you lose weight. I should have
Oh,
smacked her.
I want to punch her.
Well, she passed away last year,
Oh
but
gosh, I'm
um,
sorry.
I and I didn't ask her to be my maid of honor. We were so close, her and I. We went through grade school, high school, university, and because I didn't ask her to be my maid of honor, she broke off total with me. So all those memories, and because I was really her only friend, and like I lost all my childhood memories
Oh,
from all those grades because they were all incorporated into her and I,
yeah.
So,
Well,
but
she
yeah,
missed out. She missed out on you. She did.
I know she did. I know for sure. Because um, I'm very kind and loving. I
You
really
are
am. I've
kind.
got
I
a,
can tell just by
I,
talking to you.
yeah. I've got my friend. Yeah, I have so many people that I reach out to and I connect with, and I sponsor 6 people in Overeaters Anonymous. In the
That's amazing.
States, and yeah, I tell you, like I'll never leave Overeaters Anonymous because that's really saved my life. It really has.
Well, you're
Um,
probably saving other people's lives and you don't even know it.
yeah,
So
I
that's,
hope so.
yeah.
Yeah. Any questions that
Yes, I
people?
was reading on
Yeah.
here. Let me scroll back. There are some things. I don't, are you able to see comments on here?
No, for some reason I can't.
Oh, okay. So let's see. All right, everyone, we're gonna. Abby earlier said that her pediatrician also came, her daughter's pediatrician came in and said, I think your daughter has Down syndrome only because of her tongue,
Mm-hmm.
which is, I mean, years later from when you were born, and that's still the
Mm-hmm.
perception, which is what
Mm-hmm.
my goal is to change.
Mm-hmm.
And I really realized it was a something that needed to happen when I work with all these brilliant physicians, and they're like, "What does your son have? I've never heard of that." And I'm like, "How is that
Mm-hmm.
possible?"
Mm-hmm.
So it's
Like
still,
how in 1983 did all the doctors not say, "Oh, you've got BWS"? Like
yeah,
that really made me,
I know.
Yeah.
Let's see. I think there was a specific. Let's see. Oh, Rebecca said her daughter overheats easy as well. Sheila's daughter overheats too.
Oh,
Um,
really?
yeah,
Okay.
she actually just recently had to take her for the ER for that because she was overheating.
Mm.
Lynn said, Mary, I cannot tell you how much I appreciate you sharing your story. There are several similarities with our stories, and you are the first person that I know of with BWS that is not younger than me. Thank you so much for doing this. You have brought tears in a good way to my eyes.
I'm hoping to hear someone come on here that's older than me.
That would be awesome.
Wouldn't that be amazing? Oh, I would
Yeah.
love it. I would love it.
Leanne said having a BWS baby is not easy, not even a little. It's a roller coaster of a journey. That is for sure.
Yeah.
Let's see. Sheila said, "You're such a sweet lady. Thank you for sharing and giving us BWS moms, um, and BWS moms with daughters hope." And Alicia has a question for you. She said, "Let's see. Let's see. Oh wait, first, Rebecca said, did they happen to mention long QT syndrome at all with you, with your heart? Anything about long QT syndrome?"
No, no.
No. Okay.
What is that? Oh.
It's like an interval within your heartbeat that's longer than normal. Um,
Oh.
and that's like the vulnerable period of I'm trying to explain it in an easy way. It's like a vulnerable period where your heart is the most vulnerable, and if you happen to get like an extra beat, like sometimes when your heart will skip a beat, which happens all the time. If it happens during that period of time, it can cause you to go into like a lethal rhythm and arrest. Like a lot of kids find out they have it when they're playing sports or doing something
Oh.
strenuous,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
because they have that like a longer vulnerable period than normal
Mm-hmm.
people.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I have heard BWS kids being looked at for that. Um,
Oh.
let's see. Kelly said, I think it's hardest to love ourselves. BWS is part of my beautiful and amazing daughter, and I am so thankful for the resiliency she now has. I think having these issues help us love everyone. Agree.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Um, oh, here's a couple questions. Alicia said, coming from a female, if you could tell future teen girls with BWS one thing, what would it be? Alicia has a daughter with BWS. She's a little baby. I think she's 7 or 8 months, I believe.
What would I tell?
Hmm.
What would I tell? I would say that I'm going to cry.
Oh,
No, I would say that you may be different, but you're beautiful and you've got a great heart. And if you need help, don't don't sit in your sadness. Get help. You know,
yeah.
don't sit in it and don't retreat. Don't take abuse from people. Get help because
Hmm.
I wish I had gotten the help. You know,
Yeah.
when I felt so confused, when I felt so different. You know, and I didn't go down a terrible pathway. You know, I didn't go drugs or anything like that. But you never know. You
Yeah.
know, I just sat in my sadness, which it's not good. I mean, I didn't. My teenage life was. I didn't have a normal teenage life.
Yeah.
Um, it was. Um, it was just sad, kind of, you know. But
Yeah.
the 20s and 30s, like you know, I think my 60s are the best so far. You know, like I really, like I just love who I am right now. I love my new
Good.
boyfriend. Hi, Brian. um, yeah, like I'm finally coming into my own where I don't allow people to hurt me the way I used to.
Good.
You know, and that's another thing that I just took whatever crumbs that people gave me. And
Right.
because I just felt so like an ugly duckling, you know, and
Yeah.
um, but you know, and of course, maybe if I'd had a tongue reduction, things would have been better. I don't know.
Yeah.
When I smile, sometimes you can just see the tip of my tongue. You know, it's still. Well, my boyfriend doesn't complain, though. I don't. um, uh, you know, like, you know, if my mother had said, you know, we're going to get you a good belly button, you know, do BWS kids have regular belly buttons, or do they?
So Owen, I think they're all different. Owen was born with an umbilical hernia. So his belly button was, I was like, what is going on with his belly button? It was
Mm,
like fully popped out. Um
mm. So
Nat,
he didn't have an omphacile?
he didn't. Mm-mm.
Oh,
His
okay.
abdomen was just huge. I mean, it still
Mm-hmm,
is very large, but
mm-hmm,
when they were doing his ultrasounds, they were like, his belly is so big. His belly was measuring the 99th percentile, like all the way around.
mm-hmm,
So I'm surprised he didn't because I don't know how everything fit in there. But he did have the umbilical hernia, which did resolve on its own. It went back in. But he
mm-hmm.
does have, and I don't know if this is BWS related or just because I have a very funky belly button. I have like a belly button that's kind of an innie and an outie, and both of my kids have that kind of belly button. So,
Oh,
but I do know
yeah.
other BWS kids can have the umbilical hernia, and their belly button isn't as classic as like a normal belly button.
But
So,
what about the kids with omphaciles? Do they, when they push the intestines back in, do they do the purse string like I've got, or do they
that's a good
somehow,
question.
you know,
That's good.
I'd love to know. I'd love to know whether they take the time during that initial surgery, or is it a later thing where they, because mine was emergency,
Right.
you know, in the moment.
So
I'd be
we'll have to
interested.
see if anyone is on here that can speak to that because I do know there are some kids that have the scars from the surgery for that. Um But yeah, that'll be interesting to see how their kids that have had that, how that heals up for them, and how they did it, like through the years.
Yeah.
Let's see who else. Leanne said, "Sorry, maybe I missed it, but was Mary able to have children? I have a BWS baby girl and have already been told her ovaries won't work from a blood test they took." Well,
No, I had
Leanne,
my little. I had. I
got a
had.
baby.
I had fertility issues. I had to go on Clomid, but I
Okay.
did have my little boy. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, so Leanne, there's hope for her. They don't
Yeah.
know everything, that's for sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
Rebecca said, "What is the best advice you can give us mamas with BWS babies?"
Just love them and encourage them and just make them make them feel that they're special and God made me this way and no, he doesn't make mistakes, you know, and just encourage. My mother was a great encourager, but she was busy with 5 kids and a grandmother who was sick. Um, and
Yeah.
back in those days, you just didn't get psychiatric help. You know,
Right.
you just
You
weathered it
you just dealt with it.
dealt with it. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Um, a lot of people on here, including myself, um, we worry a lot about bullying with our kids. Um, and I know you said you experienced teasing and stuff like that. Do you ever think that you were extremely bullied because of how different you were?
Yeah, yeah,
You were.
yeah, definitely, yeah. Um, but then my mother was, she was, boy, oh boy, she was, my dad was very quiet and he was into the books and everything, but my mother, oh my gosh, her kids were her lifeblood and
Yeah.
you don't do anybody wrong. You know, my little Mary Catherine, she called me Mary Catherine. It was Anne Marie and Mary Catherine. And I dropped the Catherine, but I put it back. I put it back recently on Facebook because that's my given name, Mary Catherine. And I thought, for some reason, I don't know why I took the Catherine off, but
Yeah.
I did. But yeah, I was bullied and even my son, when I told him about Beckwith Witterman, he said, I showed him pictures and everything, and he kind of made fun of my tongue and everything. You know, he said, "Really?" You know, and I smacked him, eh?
Yeah.
But yeah, I got a lovely granddaughter now. I just love her to bits. Oh my
Oh,
gosh, I just feel so blessed to, you know, having just one boy now to have a granddaughter, and
awesome.
yeah,
That's awesome.
yeah.
Did you ever, I guess your mom was good with that though, with supporting the bullying
Yes.
so what advice did she give you? Because I as a mom am like that with my kids. I'm very like you don't mess with my babies. Um, but there is also a balance because you also have to kind of let them figure it out to a point. So,
Yeah.
like I wonder, like I hope as Owen gets older, I'm able to stay restrained when I need to be, and then, let my claws out when they need to come out.
Yeah. Well, I wasn't a good defender of myself. Like I no, and there was childhood sexual abuse in my history as well, um, by an uncle, and I don't know whether that I know that probably compounded things, and
Yeah.
I don't know whether it was because I wasn't talking
Mm.
as a child, and whether it happened because I wasn't talking. But there's that layer as well that really has nothing to do with BWS, I don't think, but it, it happened quite young when I was young, and it
Right.
quite extended into my 12 or 13. But so I think for parents of children who are different, who feel different and crave affection, It probably led me down that that path for when I was a child, you know. So just maybe to be aware of that as well, that so that and it was a family member, you know. So
Yeah, that's sad.
yeah. So, but you know, so
But
like when I talk about when I talk about my life, I got through it. You know, I
you
got through
did.
it, and but I was conflicted. I was very conflicted, and just feeling so different in my body. You know, I just wanted to be like my older sister. You know, I really did. I wanted to be small. I wanted to be blonde. I wanted to be petite and with a beautiful smile. And it just wasn't going to happen, you know. But I'm blonde and I'm shorter now. I'm 5'9", so I'm getting there.
Yeah, I mean, I think the thing with this is, I think different is beautiful. I think we live in a society where, things are thrown in our face all the time of what is pretty and what is perfect.
I know.
And that's hard as girls, but at the same time, people are really missing out on the beauty that's right in front of them. Like, I mean, the people that bullied you, the people that took advantage of you, they really missed out on who you really are, and
I know.
you are shining, and you're doing a service to a lot of
I'm a
people.
survivor. Like I'm
You are.
a BWS survivor. You know, I think, oh my goodness, you know, and I'm a writer, and I belong to a writing group, and that's how I met my boyfriend. A lady in my writing group was in his art group, and she got us together, and it's all worked out, you know. I love living in this little village, um, and I just love the fact that I've come into this group where I feel that I'm not alone in my BWS, you know?
No, you're not.
And no, I'm not alone anymore. Yeah.
No, and I know, I think that's a feeling that all of us at some point, because the one thing, everybody's BWS journey is so different, but I think that the one common thing is at some point we have all felt alone at some point, which is kind of crazy when you think about it, because like we're all in different generations, we're all in different,
Yeah.
spans of time. So, um, that was my main thing. I felt so alone the first year and just was like, oh my God, like what's going on? So just to hear your story and you're on the other side of it, and you're helping people, you've survived so much. I mean, I am grateful,
Yeah.
really.
That's
And
what I wanted to give hope to young mothers, especially of girls, you know,
yeah.
and boys with thick legs.
Oh my God, no, got one.
um, you know, like if I can give hope that you know that your kids are going to be fine. They're going to be fine. You know, just
Yeah.
watch out for them retreating. Watch out for them to being. You know, I'm a bit of an introvert. I need my quiet time, but you know, there's got to be a good balance.
Right,
And I got, you know, there's signs when your kid needs help.
right.
And I think the awareness that you young mothers have now, you'll get your kids help. I know you will, because
Yeah.
you're just when you go to your doctors, do they offer social work help if the kids need it? Like,
Um, they asked me about early intervention for like his speech and his physical stuff, but they have yet to mention, maybe because he's so little, they have yet to mention about anything else,
I'm
which I
wondering
am
if that's
curious.
part of the package, you know,
Right. Like
the
I am
future
curious
package.
about that because um I have talked to my husband a lot with just Owen, how fierce he is and his reactions to things. Um, Seems to be a commonality with BWS kids. And I don't know if that's because, Owen's the size of a 3-year-old kind of trapped in a 17-month-old body. He's able to
Yeah,
physically do things that he can't
yeah,
communicate.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Um, so part of it could be frustration, but then I do wonder, like, man, some of the fits he throws, I'm like, is this normal? Like, do we need to like have him seen for this? Or so, I think it could be a connection that just hasn't been made yet. And
Yeah.
I also wanted to tell you that CHOP, the Children's Hospital of Philadelphia, has a registry, a BWS registry, um,
Oh, do they?
where they gather information of, people with BWS, and they use it to research and learn more about it, um,
Definitely,
discover
definitely.
more. So I will send you,
Oh,
I'll send you
perfect.
the link because they could learn so much from you. So if you wanted to
Yeah.
do that and, give them your story and stuff,
Oh, I'd be pleased like that, and that's the more knowledge, the more we can put all our pieces together, the better the future will be for BWS babies. I'm sure,
yeah.
the more knowledge we have. Yeah.
Yeah, it has to start somewhere.
But yeah, I'm
Alicia said, how was clothes shopping as you got older?
pants are just like I can wear a large or an extra large top. Pants are just I have to gear up to, and then of course trying on all these jeans I get overheated. Oh, it's it's terrible. I must have tried on about 15 pairs of jeans the last time I bought a pair of jeans, and this lovely lady down in the I was down in Florida um, wintering, and she just kept bringing them in, and then she's I'm gonna find one for you, girl. She was
Oh,
so
that's
cute,
awesome.
and because to get them to fit in the legs,
Right,
sometimes they don't fit in the waist, and
right.
but yeah, I've got varicose veins. I don't know whether that's from probably being overweight as well, but and my mother had them as well. But
Okay.
yeah, like the more the older people give data to the experts, it'll help. I think.
Definitely. Because even just hearing your story, even hearing Christopher's story, it's just crazy. Like some pieces of your guys' stories are things that I've never even heard before. And I don't even think the world has heard before. Um, so it's pretty cool when you think about it, because I feel like, this is like starting, and 20, 30, 40, 50, 60 years from now, it's going to be a different story, and hopefully it's going to be better for the kids that are born 60, 70 years from now. Like their parents can take them and it'll be immediately recognized. It won't be, hold on, let me go on Google and now I'll take care of your child. Um, that's my hope in doing all of this, and just connecting
Yeah,
people and
yeah,
making people more accepting to people that are different.
yeah. How old was Owen when you decided to start this group?
I think I started this in April, May, or maybe March or April. So he turned 1 in February. So he was
Okay,
like 13, 14 months old.
okay, okay.
Yeah, it was my husband actually that really this wasn't even supposed to happen. How it happened was my husband was like, you're good at writing, you should just blog, because he's very I call him positive Patty. And it's not that I'm not positive, but I'm more realistic. And I think working in a hospital setting for a while kind of does that to you. You see things that are real and are very possible for your child's life. So, I know the statistics that are very real for Owen, and I think my husband's like, yeah, yeah, it'll be fine. We'll deal with it when it happens. So he knew I was struggling, and he was like, just write, it'll help you. And then somehow, I don't even really know how this had developed.
It snowballed,
Yeah,
yeah.
it snowballed, and I'm glad it did, because it's very helpful for me,
Yeah.
just to meet and speak with all these people that are willing to share these stories, and it makes and it's cool because they're all different. No one's story is the same.
No,
Um,
no. I
and
love I love listening to the stories because
oh,
I I
good.
just I just picture my mama and her doing the same things and as these young mothers are doing. It's I'm channeling my mama when I
That's
when I
awesome.
listen to the ladies talk about their babies.
Well, a lot of people say that BWS moms are like BWS kids are a very like specific type of child, and the moms are the same way apparently. And your mom sounds very similar to some of
Oh
us
yeah, yeah,
BWS
yeah,
mommies, so I
yeah,
think that's a thing there.
yeah, yeah, for sure, for sure.
Well, I want to thank you again. This has been so great, and I just your story is incredible, and you should really just feel so proud of yourself for
I
getting on
am.
here
Like I
and
just,
sharing.
I just, yeah, I get up in the morning and I thank the Lord that I've come so far
Yeah,
and I'm just very happy.
good, good.
Yeah.
I think you helped a lot of people that you don't even realize, and you have a gift. You really do to be able to sit here and just share with people.
Yeah,
And
yeah, yeah.
I think your story is super inspiring, especially for BWS moms of girls.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
mean,
definitely. And
your
then,
story is inspiring for me, and I don't even have a daughter. So I've been a boy mom for 4 years now, and I've been terrified to have a daughter for reasons that you have mentioned,
yeah.
not even BWS related. And I think if I ever have one, your story is going to be one I think of all the time.
Thank you, thank you.
So yeah, and hopefully at the next CHOP conference you can come.
I plan to for sure. Yes,
Good. We'll keep you updated on it. I think they do it every 2 years. So
every
um,
2 years.
this
Okay,
year and then, but so you have time to plan.
okay, great.
Yeah. Um,
Okay,
but yeah, and I will edit this, and if you have family that you want to share it with, and they're not on Facebook, it'll go up on the website so they can look at it on the website too. Once I
okay. And when will it be on the website?
probably in like a day or two.
Okay,
I have to edit the other one. I'll probably spend tomorrow or Wednesday doing it, and then I'll message
okay,
it to you so you know that it's up there.
okay,
All
okay.
right.
Thanks so much.
You're welcome. Thank you so much for sharing with us.
Okay, how do I get off this? Do I just
I
press
think
the X button?
yeah, the X button.
Okay.
Have a good night.